Hello and welcome to episode 11 of NiHao Salam. Today's episode is real dating advice. So we'll start with two truths and a lie.
Yep, I'll go first. I am technically held back 3 years. I was technically held back 3 years in school. I was bullied before I became a bully.
Mm-hmm.
When I was young, I almost started a kitchen fire.
How young?
I was probably 14, maybe 13.
3 years at once or all together?
Different times of my life, I had been held back.
I think you're held back 2 years. Because you went to college when you were 20. Usually people go when they're 18.
Depends what held back means, I guess.
I don't think you were bullied. I think that's a lie.
Okay, it's not a lie. I was bullied.
Oh, for
And yes,
what?
I was held back 2 years, technically.
Oh, I knew it. I should have gone with my gut.
Yeah, people kept playing with my Chinese name
Oh, yeah.
and
I forgot.
also mocked my broken English. And so I kept quiet for most of my first 2 years of, like, what is it called when you're grade school or something?
Mm-hmm. That's so funny because I had broken English and I went to elementary school in America and no one made fun of me.
Mm-hmm.
But you grew up in Asia and people made fun of you for your Asian accent.
Yeah, because the people I was surrounded by were international kids and their parents spoke fluent English. My parents did not speak fluently, so I had what my parents had, which was just broken English. So I made the point to just be quiet until I was fluent.
How do you practice if you're quiet?
I watched a lot of TVs and I just like mock, not mock. I just like
Imitate.
imitated what I saw.
That's funny. Okay. I used to have a unibrow. My first memory of seeing a woman's bush made me cry. I briefly wanted to be a nail artist when I was growing up.
Do you remember why it made you cry?
I was disgusted. I was traumatized. I thought it was like a pet.
Was it real crying or is it just
Real
like...
crying because someone told me it would happen to me one day. I was so little. I mean, before you hit puberty, you don't have hair there. So I started crying because I knew it would happen to me one day. And also hated it so much. I didn't want... It's like my OCD kicked in. I didn't want it on the skin. I wanted her not to have it there. But it was so disgusting. That's so mean.
I don't think you had a complete unibrow. Maybe technically it can be considered unibrow if you wanted to call it as such. But what is it, attached unibrow or is it detached?
Detached, but like hair connecting my brow.
So it's true. And then the last one is false then.
Yeah, I never wanted to be a nail artist. I knew I could not do it.
Okay, and I won. Again. Let's move on to our actual segment, our pretty popular segment, which is like dating and interracial dating. But this is focused on what we have to say regarding dating and how we should and should not do it. So we have a few advice. I have 3 and Yegane wrote 2. I can go first.
Okay.
I have pretty good advice here. First thing people should really do is develop multiple interests and skills that makes you more desirable in general. Example, things that you and your future partner can do together. Like hiking, walking, working out, taking ceramic classes, go to comedy clubs or music festival or events, concerts in general. It all depends on what you're willing to do and spend. Like, this is obviously limited by funds. Something you would like to do yourself as well. You don't want to be doing something you don't want to do the rest of your life.
Like lying and saying you have a passion for ceramics and you hate ceramics.
Yeah, you gotta have, some enjoyment coming out of it for yourself in life. And it helps you find a good match when you are doing something that the other person might also be interested in.
Yeah, I think not not that cheating is that popular, but imagine your partner is really into like doing many, many things and they're always around people. I'm not saying everyone cheats, but I feel like if that sounds so cautious, but if your partner's always by themselves doing things, like I don't think it leads to it being good.
Well, it also creates an interesting person out of yourself.
Yeah, that too.
Life experience comes only if you do things. You can't get experiences when you're only limited to a few things, a few things in your repertoire. Like, I only go to coffee shops and read books. If that's all you do, then, that might not be interesting for most people. It might be interesting for some. Like, there are some like gamers, out there that are like waiting for a perfect partner that only games. It is possible you might find that person, but the likelihood is lowered because of that limitation.
I think I've dated someone who only had one interest and it didn't work, but I've also dated someone who had no life experience, but not in this context, like no life trauma. Like his only personality trait was this, like trying new things, bike riding, reading, classes, concerts. Sometimes both can be. I didn't like either of them because like the first guy's boring. He only likes one thing and I don't even like that one thing. We have nothing to do together. Boring. Second guy gave me like spoiled kid vibe, because like who else has so much time to do all these things other than like someone who's never had something bad happen to them? Do you know what I mean? Like there's a happy middle, but I've dated both situations where one is like the most boring person, I'm like falling asleep, and the other person I'm like, we don't need to do something all the time. And also like maybe especially if someone's job is boring, like you do art and you do all these cool things and you have all these skills. It's so different from like a guy who works in finance and tries to do fun things on the side, like going to concerts. I hate that guy personally. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
You don't need to hate them. They just have experiences of going to things that they could talk about. It's about being able to say, I've done X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It's not about I love doing this, or I would like to make sure that my future partner does these interests that I have as well. I think it's more about having any experience at all. Like, I've been to snowboarding, I didn't like it, but I actually tried. Did you do it? Like, if your conversation is only about things that you have done, and the things you've done is what, like, two different experiences in life, like gaming and going to school, that's just so sad.
Yeah.
And yeah, your future partner might be into it, but I'm gonna suggest that if you're gonna broaden up your net, you gotta have more than some experience. And I understand that it's not an affordable thing to have more experience, but there are experiences you can have
for free.
They are inexpensive.
Yeah.
Like reading books.
Or bike riding
or
hiking.
Taking photos with your phone, or going to community garden, or just like helping out other people.
Yeah, I think what I mentioned about the second guy that was like a finance guy that kept trying to do things outside of work was, I guess I'm bringing the job into it. Like if your job is unfulfilling and you're like pushing everything on the extracurriculars, I don't know, maybe that was my issue, not necessarily the personality trait. Okay, should I go to mine?
Yes, please.
This is less advice and more something I noticed, but Americanized people usually get more attention. Like an Asian guy with tattoos that owns a truck might get more swipes on like dating apps than traditional guys. Same with Middle Eastern people. People prefer people of color that are more westernized versions of themselves, and they put POC in a box. I guess this was more of a question than it is advice, but I think a lot of people, especially people not born here, have a difficult time dating because the people getting attention and the ones more comfortable in the dating scene are more westernized in a way. I don't know. Saying, do you think it's true that people like when they do date people of color, try to go for the more Americanized version of them, like the watered down a little bit sometimes?
Maybe. I have no data regarding if it's true or if it's like a bad thing. Like, everyone has their own preference. Is it a problem? Maybe it could be a problem if it's a real statistic that people prefer an Americanized or a whitewashed version of someone that's a person of color. I guess you could feel safer if you're a white person swiping looking for someone, but you can't really tell until you meet that person when you start talking to that person if that person is whitewashed. It's like, I don't know what to add to this. Like, it's not really an advice.
I know, I didn't say it was advice. I was just saying, have you ever experienced that? Like, do you think the more Americanized version of you is more popular in the dating world, or is it harder to date outside of your race if you're very traditional?
Well, I've never really met someone like me. Like, I mean, I'm not even American. Like, it's hard to say. Like,
okay. You could go to yours then.
I believe consent is indeed sexy. Just because a few people allowed you to make sexual advances without discussing prior does not mean every person you meet is open to it. No matter who you are, or you're not entitled to someone else's body. So, the next time you think you feel some sexual tension or some sort of physical initiation is helpful, try using phrases like, I really like you, and I can't stop thinking about kissing you. Do you also feel the same? Or if you have already been on multiple dates, and you think it's the right time, you can say, I know this might be a little forward, but would you like to take this to the next step? It might seem these lingual may kill the vibe, the mood, but once you have made your intention clear, and they are on the same page as you, let the rest of the night be natural or day.
I feel like I'm gonna get controversy for how I feel about that. I think consent is very important in like the bedroom, but I think we were at your friend's wedding and me and your friends, like the girlfriends, were talking, and all of us are dating guys that got like consent before they kissed us, and none of us wanted it. Like, we just wanted them to kiss us. So I do think consent is important, but if you've gone on a long date with someone, I think you're allowed to kiss them without asking. That might be super controversial right now, but I don't know. I've met a lot of girls that think the same. Like, I don't want you to like bend me over and just go at it, but if we've gone on a date and you can tell it's going well, I don't think you need to ask to kiss. I think kissing, girls do appreciate it when guys take the initiative, because as much as there are like girls who like, I'm a girl who loves initiating. Anyone who I've like dated, I've usually asked out. Like, I don't mind asking someone out, but when it comes to kissing and stuff like that, like, come on, like, you can do that. I don't know.
I am not saying your thing is that you're saying you rather they initiate, but initiation is asking for consent. That's initiating.
I suppose, yeah.
Advances.
But the words, I'm just saying, I don't think maybe I'm speaking too broadly for girls, but I don't think most girls would mind if you just kiss them after a date. Especially if the date went well. Like, read the room. If the date's gone horrible, don't go kissing my face. But if I'm like looking at you and the date's gone really well and you're like, time for consent form number 5, and I'm like, okay.
Obviously, there is no such thing as consent form. It's all about, if there is an existence, it would be just because there are people who are that way. But if you're in a relationship that you feel like there's too many contractual obligations and you don't feel comfortable doing that, then it's not for you, obviously. But when it comes to like dating where people are just constantly meeting new people, do not assume. You can feel the room, you can feel the vibe. Like, are they looking down at your lips? Are they, playing with your arm? Stuff like that is a sign. you can also like try to like ask them, are you comfortable if I like hold, your hand? Can I walk you home? Stuff like that is like means like you want to make them feel comfortable and that you're not a creepy guy. Because there are a lot of instances where nice guy are not nice and that they are just predators. And so you want to distinguish yourself from these people, that maybe this person may have experienced predatorial advances that they did not ask for, but they went with it because they want to be nice. You're trying to create an environment for the future men out there that are actually trying their best to be initiative and use words that are that are not predatorial. Like, why did you dress like this? If you're, we want to kill that stigma. We want to kill that kind of behavior by actually using good words.
I think an attractive thing is exclusivity. Maybe some women are different, but I think it's tacky when guys brag about how many other people they're talking to in order to make their date feel jealous. This would be unacceptable in a relationship, like in the relationship stage. But in the dating stage, I found that many guys want to gauge interest by acting like players. Like, I don't know, I've definitely dated guys or gone on dates with guys who literally have shown me a picture of a different girl. They're like, yeah, I talked to this girl. Like, just trying to create jealousy in the talking stage is so weird to me. I don't know. I don't like that. I think maybe not in New York, because a lot of women here maybe won't feel the same, but because, dating can be up and down here, and many people, I don't know, it's a broad range of people, but if someone wants a relationship and they're going on a date with you and you're trying to make them jealous or something, I think it's so weird. I think women feel special when the guy is like obsessed with them.
Yeah, I just want to quickly distinguish between behaviors where they're obviously fuckboys and they're not interested in you, they're interested in your body. And our advice are not going towards fuckboys or fuckgirls.
No, but I think there are people who aren't that way, that do. Like, I've definitely tried to make someone jealous before and been like, oh, and then there's this guy who's kind of cute. Like, I wasn't trying to, like, mess with them or use their body. It was more like I was trying to seem more desirable by mentioning other people.
You're saying that you have done this.
I've done this, and I've had it happen to me as well. Like,
but
and I've known
that
people.
It happened to you, or?
No, I'm saying that it's tacky, and I wish I didn't do that. I'm not saying it's good.
So you caught yourself doing it.
Yeah, I caught myself being like, if I act like there's so many guys interested, then this guy will think like, oh, I'm some prize he has to win. But I think it's not attractive. But I think a lot of people do that, where they try to make their date feel like
I don't think
they're not that special.
The guys that do that kind of behavior or any fuckboy behavior catch themselves. I don't think they're the type that are like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I really like this person. I wish they see me differently. Now I can't really revert my words into my mouth. Mm-hmm. Like, these behavior that you experience as a woman, mm-hmm. and I've heard stories of like many different kind of fuckboys out there. They're like, they're really just, you're just one person in their, roster on their phone, that they're just like playing your feelings. So our advices are just like for really normal people who are not fuckboys. Like, don't do that if you think that this kind of move is going to succeed in your life.
I think some people do, who aren't F-boys, do think that, because girls do it too. Well, where they will make themselves seem like a trophy to be won. Mm-hmm. So they'll mention other, like, almost like bargainer, like, oh, you don't want to buy my apple? Well, there's 10 other customers who buy it, so go, get lost.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do that. It's not just people who are players with rosters. It's also people just, like, trying, like, if you're insecure. I feel like I was insecure when I did it. So if you're insecure, you're trying to play yourself up, like, oh, just so you know, like, this isn't my only thing. I have other things going for me. So what is
your real advice for these people?
I think exclusivity is attractive, especially if that's what you're looking for and that's what your intention is. And to never make that, like, making someone feel jealous is not going to succeed. I don't know. Like, that's my advice, is that I think sometimes me and my friends prior would try to make the people we're dating jealous because then they'll give us more attention. But I don't think that's good.
So how, like, if I was this person you're meeting right now, I'm looking at you and you are interested in continuing dating, what would you say to create exclusivity?
Or how many dates have we gone on?
2 or 3.
2 or 3. Hey, I'm not sure if you're talking to other people. I just want to let you know that I'm not. And if you are, I just would prefer you be honest with me now, because I'm kind of looking for someone I can rely on and something more than dating right now.
Okay, if I say I'm not sure, I think that I like you, but
you want to keep your options open?
I want to go on more dates with you, but I think that as I'm on my dating apps, I'm still figuring out if I am looking for something serious or something that I'm not sure. I'm just not sure.
I don't really want to waste my time, so I'm gonna let you figure out what you want, and when you're ready and know what you want, you can come for a 3rd or 4th date with me.
I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate your condor. Hopefully
That's what I would say.
We would be able to see each other again.
Now let me do a realistic one of what I would have actually done when 3 years ago. Do it again. I'm gonna do what I would have done 3 years ago. Go.
I am not sure what I would.
That's okay. Honestly, you can use me. That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead. Carry on. You don't even have to like me.
What do you mean by use you?
Okay, fine. You could just hurt my feelings. It's okay. Where are we going tonight? Let's go. I'm ready.
Okay.
And scene.
So, yeah. Obviously, a lot of people are getting hurt out there, and they're not sure what they want, especially at a very young age. I think
you also think you can fix a guy. Like, I think in your head you're like, oh, if he doesn't like me now, wait until 7 dates down. No, 7 dates down, you're more attached, and he still doesn't like you. No offense.
Yeah, I think it has something to do with certain personality, and I will give my next advice, which is about being attached. But there are different personalities out there that you have to be careful of, and that you have to study up to be able to catch and avoid. There are characters that are going to be toxic in the middle and end of your relationship with this person that will scar you for life, such as inconsistency, lying, not being able to be exclusive, not being able to reply on time, not being able to communicate on time. A lot of things that are going to be red flags. You have to look it up yourself and be aware that, that your time is valuable, and that your time cannot be given back to you if you're wasting time on someone who is flaky, who is ghosting you and then showing up again. You have to be careful with your time. And with that said, I'm going to my last advice, is when it comes to dating or looking for dates, do not get attached or clingy too quickly. This might sound obvious, but unless you and your dates had spoken about being exclusive, you can't assume that is the case. Just get that out of the way by having that conversation early, like you had said, to make a point that you're either interested or that you see a potential in continuing the dating process. So play it cool, because in reality, a single person may have a lot of other options. But if they like you for you, they will let you know eventually.
I agree. It's kind of hard because when you get attached, I don't know. I've always had friends who have the same mental illnesses I have. Like, specifically, if you have bipolar, BPD, there's a thing called favorite person, FP. And it's you go through these phases of obsession with it could not even be a relationship. It could be a family member. It could be a friend. It could be your teacher. They become your FP and you want to see them every second of every day, and you get so attached and you see them in this glorious light, and then you wake up one day and you don't care about them. those are called FPs. And when I've had these attachments without the person reciprocating the emotion, I've been in that mindset where it's like, I don't care, they're this golden wonderful thing, like I don't see any cons. So for me to give advice is a little complicated, because to give it to like I'm neurodivergent, so what's it called, like a normal minded person could detach and just be like, no, clearly this is a mess. But it's hard if you've been through stuff and you want to find someone to like help you.
So what advice would you give yourself?
Wait it out until someone gets attached back.
What if that person doesn't come? What do you do when you meet someone new?
Like if I hadn't met you,
No, if you're just dating.
if I was a dating person who easily gets attached, date more than one person, maybe. If you want to not be attached to someone,
You mean go on multiple dates or date multiple person at once?
maybe date multiple people at once. I don't know. I'm a very attached person. I'm trying to give advice to someone to be less attached. I think the only way I could have been less attached is if I wasn't putting sole focus on one person. So maybe I needed to be dating more than one person.
My advice is have lots of friends. Have friends.
I had so many friends when I was attached to people, though. It's different. Like, if you have that one person you're obsessed with, then you start telling your friends about it too. Like,
Well, you had a church group, right? You had friends, and you have friends who are associated because you were in the community. What I'm talking about when it comes to friends is being diverse in the community where you live, such as, you could go out and join a class with
I had comedy friends, I had roommates, I had
Exactly.
regular friends, I had church friends, but I still was attached to horrible people. I don't think
But
friends can save you.
You're still like surrounded by positive people. Even if you're attached with yourself to negative people,
Yeah.
your saving grace, your
Yeah, your friends
safety
can help you a
net
lot.
is still there. Like, it's not like you only die for a few people. People are willing to be there for you because you show up. Did you have any other things you want to add to the advice? Anything that popped up in your mind?
I think when you stop looking, it shows up. If you're searching for it and you really, really want it, you're going to give that characteristic to the next person who walks through the door, and that next person could not be the person for you. And also, I think it matters where you live. I think it's a lot easier to date in places other than New York City. I think the city is full of cheaters and liars, and people who are... It's really easy to be a bad person here.
For me, the final this time is being able to know. This is cliche, I say this a lot, to know yourself first. And people say this a lot, and they don't really understand what that truly means. Like, what are you happy when you are alone? Are you able to go to a therapist and actually reveal your true self? Are you going to therapy? Are you working through your traumas, if you have any? Most people have. Are you working through your relationship with your family, your sister, your best friend? If you have anyone close to you that you wish you had, resolved something, are you working through any of your self invalidation that you need to bring up, in your life, so that your self-esteem is up to, date, up to standard, up to
I think
par.
an interesting episode after this one, or maybe two down, would be mental health and relationships. Sorry, just side note. I think that would be interesting, and how to be a good partner to someone who has different mental state than you do. Because I think giving advice to someone with a disorder is very different than giving it to someone whose brain works differently.
Yeah, don't give up on yourself when it comes to like being able to problem solve. If you are able to resolve what you're struggling internally before you meet someone, the happier relationship is going to be.
Yeah.
And for me, I had a hard time recovering from my past relationship, but my therapist and I worked through it. And I worked through it myself, being able to reason with myself, and also the connections I have around me were able to push me through my hard times.
Mm-hmm.
And also having an animal in my life also helped a lot. And
Pushing.
it's definitely a life-changing decision to have
Someone to
pet.
care for other than yourself is good
but
too.
again, do not attach yourself to anyone. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Don't think it's like a super cliche. It's serious. It's something that you only have one chance, is like your life. And if you want to have an enjoyable relationship, you should be able to enjoy your own life by yourself.
I also think if you did go through a heartbreak, or if you do get attached to somebody, and if you are in pain, or if you are alone and you really want to date someone, that is building character and personality. People, this is no shade at people who marry the person they went to like elementary school with, but those people never go through like the ups and downs of like separation, loneliness, feeling ugly growing up, stuff like that. Like if you always have someone around you, it's kind of like growing up beautiful. You're not going to get the same character that the people who grew up not as attractive get. And I think that is part of the personal experience that you mentioned at the beginning, like taking the ceramic classes, taking a bike ride. I think heartbreak, like you don't want to date someone who's never been you can date someone who's never been in a relationship, but it's easier to date someone who's already figured out what they don't like and what they do want.
Yeah.
So
but you also have to ask, how did they deal with that heartbreak? You also have to figure out how they have resolved all their aches and pains that they suffered through, so that when you are in that relationship with them, that they're not going to gaslight you. They're not going to, project that pain that they received from their previous partner onto you, understandably. And so, with that said, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to do a Tinder challenge.
Yay! So, we've done this twice before. Once an East Asian guy versus a white guy, once a South Asian guy versus a white guy. Now we're doing us versus each other. Now, in my opinion, I didn't really necessarily believe Jeff when he said how his swipes were going before, when he was on dating apps. Because anytime my friends, myself, most women I know, download dating apps, like within the first hour, it says like 99 plus already. And that's not like a braggy thing. Like literally everyone I've known has had that happen to them. So I was like, why would that happen? So I thought he was doing something wrong. So I made Jeff a Tinder account in hopes of getting him many swipes. Jeff made me a Tinder account in hopes of getting me no swipes. So let's show the accounts we made. I think you should go first, honestly.
Okay, then you have to log out.
Oh, no. Okay. I'll go first.
Profile first.
This is Justin. I'll show you what his profile looks like. He's playing video games. You can see his jawline.
You switched it up. I thought it was another photo.
I think I did switch it up last night. And then this is him in his RV. He looks cute. Look at that smile. He's looking down at you. Like, it's so cute. And I gave him a different job. I gave him a credit analyst at First Republic Bank. He went to University of Oxford. And I made the age range until 100. And his miles 100. So it could literally be out of state. He got 8 likes and 1 match. Let's get to swiping. Let's see how it looks. Oh, okay. Got a match. Sorry, girl. I don't need to message you. Me trying not to get jealous while doing this. Okay, let's see. New match. Oh my god.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I
It's
saw.
an ad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Nope, there's a couple matches. Look at that. I'm gonna find each and every one of you and do something. I'm just kidding. Unless. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and still 8 likes. That's pretty good.
How does that work? I thought I already had 8 likes.
Yeah, I thought your likes would have gone down. Wait, you got a bunch. You're doing good. This is not a fail for you.
Looks like it, compared to what you're getting.
But look, that's pretty good. Okay, you got 3 likes available now. So it did go down. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 matches.
Mm-hmm.
9 matches is pretty good for one day.
Yeah, I've mentioned that to you, that it's difficult for me when I was on dating apps to find any match to begin with. And then when I do find a match, it's not necessarily the person I want to go out with on like a date or invest any time on, because they're just not interesting enough to be like, okay, I need to, set up a day immediately.
Aw.
So it took me a while to come to that realization that this is not working.
Okay, now we're going to look at the fake profile Jeff made about me. So let's see your first photo.
So the first photo, I'm trying to make this as cringy, obviously disruptive, and not at all a dating profile kind of photo. It's me taking a photo of you. The next photo is you're back at I don't know what this is, a library.
This photo is from when I'm 17 years old in a haunted house in Wyoming.
Yep, and the next photo is of you even younger, apparently.
I'm 15 in that photo. I had a phase where I remade James Franco and Seth Rogen photos.
Yeah, I put your profile with no name, just a letter Y, a foot emoji that says nothing is real. School, the new school. I gave you some credibility, which I regret. I made it less than 3 miles. Live in New York, of course. Let's see how many matches you got from just a dummy account. You got 32 likes from a stupid profile already matched with 5 people so far. Let's start swiping. Surprisingly, no matches so far.
I'm almost offended. Like, I know the profile's bad, but guys, the one picture wasn't that bad. Also, the James Franco Seth Rogen made me fun, given that photo is underage, Jeff. I'm literally 15 in that one.
I am pleased with the results so far.
No
I'm
matches.
so glad. Okay, so I went to your distance. I made it less than 3 miles. I think that saved my swiping. You only matched with 5. So 32 likes is a lot for a profile that looks this terribly and horrendous. Especially when you put a guy's face in it. You know what I mean? I'm so glad.
My first photo is you.
I'm so glad it didn't work out. So yeah, the results are stunning. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna
The
find
game
every girl that matched with you.
The game was over before it began. Like, I was right that there's no way that I'm going to get more matches with that profile and being a man. Because the app is definitely saturated with horny men swiping without even looking. Like, if I might as well had your profile blank and people would still swipe. And
No, I think this is worse than blank. I think the photo of me going with you in it, and the photo of me as a teenager recreating James Franco pictures, and the photo of my back looking through a haunted house in Wyoming.
No. People are horny horn dogs.
It's
okay?
like worse than your mom's tagged photos on Facebook, what you did to me.
Yeah, I don't know. This is evident that dating app world is completely skewed geared towards a shopping spree for women. You know what I mean?
Okay, but I wrote this down as well for my discussion afterwards. It's kind of like going to a store like Forever 21. There might be like 2 shirts that are cute, but why in the world would I spend an hour going through the most ugly things, poorly made, to find a possible 2 shirts that in a week are gone because they're bad quality? That's what I compare it to. Like, it's quantity, but it's not quality. Like, I could get 100 matches and all of them be weird guys. And I also wrote that, like, it can also be, like, emotionally draining for some women because it's kind of like being catcalled. And if you do, I mean, some people can handle hate. Like, I can't handle hate that well, but I can handle some hate in comments on, like, TikTok. But sometimes these guys won't match with you to say mean things to you. Like, they'll match with you just to let you know they didn't like the certain thing about you. Or, like, if you say no to a date, they're like, well, you were ugly anyway. Your sister's a whore. Like, it is
Can you
still
imagine
draining.
a man being on the app being catcalled? It never happens.
I know, but then you could complain
And-
about not being catcalled in real life
And
either.
I
Like,
wouldn't want
you
to
don't
be
feel
catcalled in
safe.
real life. I've been catcalled before by multiple women, and it sucks.
Yeah.
I've been complimented by women, trans, and men, and I don't mind it. But being catcalled sucks in real life because you feel degraded. But when you're choosing to be on an app and you choose to swipe on every man or men that you think is going to be nice to date, and they just so happen to be a dickhead and start catcalling you, like, to me, that's a boohoo. Like, to me, it's like you could just ignore it. You don't have to open the app, go to that message and say don't, or just unfollow. Like, just don't look. Like, to me, it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It might sound insensitive, and like you might compare it to, well, just don't listen to a catcall on the street. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there's an option when you're on an app to not be on the app. You can delete the app. You can delete that person from your match. And I'm sure out of the 99 that they give you to swipe on are going to be less than what the next person has said.
I'm already
Maybe more, but
I'm already pretty anti-app. Like, I don't know that many people that have had successful relationships on apps. What I've seen happen with my friends is that they match with the same person and it becomes awkward. They find out the truth about someone they don't like. Easier to be ghosted because you have no path to follow back on because you just met on an app. You don't know anything about them. They could easily just the next day. They could be cheating on their spouse. There's just so much that could go wrong. I'm very anti-app.
the reason why we even did this is just we were kind of curious. I was kind of curious how well I would do as Yegane, and I wasn't surprised at all. Dating really sucks for men on dating apps because they have to compete with so many horny men and so many men that are actually good at being on dating apps. And it's, it works for some people. But it's obviously not for everyone. And yeah, you can keep trying to upgrade your profile and like keep like taking like professional shoot and stuff. But at the end of the day, my advice for everyone who's struggling online, especially Asian men like myself, is just to go out there and like get involved with the community and like be humble and be real. Like be in the community that you live in. If you live in a small community, I know that being in a city, you have a better chance of meeting someone. But even if you're in a small community, just showing your face in public more often than you have already, your chances are much higher in meeting someone who might be a meaningful person in your life.
I think also a different T-named app that you could use is TikTok. Like, I feel like I've seen a lot of people who meet their spouses or like their partners over TikTok, and especially TikTok is very accepting of different ethnicities, whereas Tinder has obviously pushed a different rhetoric forward of pushing the white profiles or just people swiping on the white profiles, whatever the case may be. Whereas on TikTok, I feel like sometimes people of color are celebrated and you could show your personality. And I'm not saying go to TikTok to meet someone, but if you are funny and trying to show who you are, maybe you can meet someone on social media. That, like, if you're against going in person, what he said is obviously the best option. But if you really, really want to just do virtual, you don't want to go outside, it gives you anxiety, I think an app where you could showcase your personality, it's so much easier to be yourself on TikTok than I think Tinder is.
Another thing about being outside in public, I'm not talking about going to bars. there's no personality at the bar. If you're going to hang out at the bar and be like, oh, this is a positive place for me, you're lying to yourself. Like, maybe there are a few people at the bar that's like there because, you know, their coworkers invited them and you somehow like got a seat next to someone you like to talk to. But the chances are the bar is the worst place to be to meet someone. And I'm sure there are a few moms and dads who met at a bar a long time ago.
My cousins met outside a bar.
But I would say clubs, bars, boat parties. I don't know.
Boat parties. I think if you meet someone on a boat party, get married to them. They're on a boat and it's a party. What do you mean?
What I'm saying when it comes to being in public spaces is like, not the gym too. Don't do the gym. Like, maybe like if
should date your personal trainer. Just kidding.
If you got hit on by another person and
we just said so many places not to meet someone, but we gave nothing.
Yeah, these are dating advices that I'm trying to.
Don't do this. Don't do that. It reminds me of that TikTok sound. Don't take on more. What is it? Don't take unnecessary journeys.
Yeah.
That's us right now.
I'm just trying to think of places that people can go in public to meet someone. Some people meet at a grocery store like Whole Foods. I
think mutual friends. If you're young, college, like education places could be
school,
good.
Institution.
A school could be good. Friends could be good. If you have the same profession but maybe not the same exact boss. Like, you shouldn't probably date your coworker, but if you go to, like, a convention...
Conventions are great places.
And you meet someone who has the same job as you, maybe that.
Another thing about being in public is being able to interact with other people that are around your age, possibly that people that you feel comfortable with, that you feel like, oh, they kind of like I get a vibe that they have the same interests, and then you figure out like their personality trait, how they interact with other people, that way that you know how to act around other people, especially people of this opposite gender. You're not out there competing, you're out there living your life. You know, you're trying to figure out, you know, what are you interested in, who are your group of friends. If you already have a group of friends, go out together. And if you're all single or someone you are dating, go out together in places where you may or may not bump into someone new.
Have you ever had this experience? There's these two guys from my, we kind of grew up together. We went to the same elementary school, middle school, high school. But anytime they date a girl, and they broke up, they would switch. That just made me think of that. Like, don't always date your friends, because that's so weird. No. I think it's so weird that they switch. Like, it happened not once but twice. It happened once in high school. They were each dating these white girls, and they switched. And then one of them started dating this Asian girl, and then the other guy took her after. I think they're still together. If they see this, you guys are messy. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not naming you. I'm just saying, like, it's weird, and I see it. I think it's so weird.
Yeah, do you have anything to add? You had some statistics you wanted to prove, right?
Yeah, I mean, it proves your point. It said that 76% of Tinder users are male, and a 2009 research conducted by OkCupid on its users showed that women rate 80% of the guys worse looking than medium. So the women are not pleased with what they're seeing. But women have it hard too, and I said they reported if they didn't reply to a message asking for nudes, they were told offensive things about their appearance that hurt their feelings. And just, it's a quantity over quality situation. So if they're saying 80% of the guys are below medium, it's quite discouraging trying to look for a guy. Because, looks aren't everything. And then you get past the looks and you learn that the personality sucks. And this is why I don't like dating apps. Because it's so many little things you have to go through. Whereas if you meet someone in real life, immediately you know their personality. Immediately you know what they really look like. You don't have to get catfished. There's just so many more pros to meeting them in real life and knowing, like, okay, it's almost like references. Like, you know this person, I know. If you steal all my money and disappear, I could go trace it back. Like, not that they're going to steal all your money and disappear, but just saying, like, you never know what a dating app could do. I think we talked about this last time, too, where, like, people literally get murdered on Tinder.
I totally agree with the references. This happens, not just to one gender, where there's a lot of terrible men out there who are good-looking, and also bad men who are bad-looking, too. They somehow get girls. It's both gender. There are terrible
people.
Yeah, cis men and cis women that are, serial monogamous or terrible relationship person. They just aren't equipped to have a meaningful, long-lasting relationship and tend to sabotage their own life and their relationship. And it's unhealthy to get yourself in a situation where you have no references in who this person is and they can just ghost you. You want to look in places where you know that you can somehow find security in this relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
And with that said, we don't really have anything else to add. No more plugs.
Oh, well, this next Saturday we're going to be selling some finale items at a air party in Bushwick.
Yes, this is a event that is a pop-up event, right?
Yeah, it's going to have lots of sellers, and we're going to take a bunch of finale stuff. I'm hopefully going to make gemstone shirts before then.
I also am working on some exclusive hoodies, hopefully in time for this event. What is it called one more time?
I think it's called Yalla Siak. It's called the Yalla Party, so we could link it. I'll send you the link.
We'll put the photo of the Instagram on top of our screen. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We had some fun swiping. Hopefully we'll do something similar again next time. And I think we're going to do some Turkish tea fortune telling.
Turkish coffee, for the love of God. He went into the cabinet and was like, is this Nespresso Turkish?
No, I was joking. But I hope you guys have a good weekend, a good week.
Joking. Okay, bye.
And yes, see you guys next time. Bye.